You know, there's few things I hate worse than bullies. And I think cults are run by people that are bullies. They physically bully people. They emotionally bully people. They're manipulative. They're all the ingredients of a bully, and I don't like it. What do cults have to do with legend tripping or urban legends? Well, there is the legend of the Tony Alamo Church. And now you wouldn't even think, well, that's not an urban legend. That was a cult leader who was a sexual predator and worse. For years, it was more or less just urban legend that the things that he actually did to people, to children especially, were that of urban legend, because nobody really truly knew until a few brave people were able to step up until some arrests were made. To understand the full scope of the Tony Alamo Church, there was a series made called Ministry of Evil, and they did a very good job. But for some reason, this particular cult is not as widely known as David Koresh and some of the other cults that have been popularized in the last couple of decades. But it is a horrible, sinister, nasty cult that needs to be exposed. And if there's anybody left over from it, I can only hope that they wake up or that more people come forward. Early last year, I did a video about the Mary Tree. And in the video, I stopped on my motorcycle by the Tony Alamo Church. And at that time, it wasn't fenced in. I was able to take my camera and stick it through the broken glass and kind of look inside the church. I was not able to gain access to the church, of course, but I could look inside of it. It is now fenced. I don't know what I think I'm going to do when I get there. It's important to know where this all came from. And Tony Alamo was a street preacher who kind of got his start on the streets in San Francisco during the flower power, flower children era of the 1960s. And he was born, Bernie Lazar Hoffman was his name, and he changed it to Tony Alamo. He eventually met an actress. Her name was Susan, and she was dragging her daughter around to churches around the country. Being the failed actress that she was basically acting and telling stories about how the gospel overtook her life. And she was very convincing. That's what she was doing when Tony met her. They formed an alliance. They started to take in young people into their church. You know, at the peak of their church, they actually played the Grand Ole Opry. They had a television show. They launched a successful line of sequin jackets that were worn by like Cher and Michael Jackson and Dolly Parton and all these celebrities. It cost thousands of dollars a lot of times to buy these jackets. They were made by the people that lived at the compound, and these people spent all day sewing and doing all this work on these jackets for free room and board. In order to join the church, you have to give up all earthly possessions, basically. So you really didn't have anything except food and board. A lot of children were used to do that work as well. After school, they would start work and most often not finish until after 10 o'clock at night. These children were often beaten for various reasons. It didn't take much to upset Tony and Susan Alamo, and if they didn't feel like you were being godly enough, well, you were getting a beating, oftentimes in front of your parents. Many times the parents looked on and went, well, he deserved it. Susan died. He really lost his mind after her death. She died in 1982, and he put her in the foyer of the church, and tried to resurrect her. She was eventually buried, and then he exhumed her body from the crypt in 1991, but we'll get into that more. Tony supposedly had married at least 13 young girls. One was even 8 years old at the time.
The Bible states that the legal age for marriage is at puberty. I'm not married to any teenage girls who don't want to be. I'm 74 years old. If you read the book of Jasher, you'll see that Rebecca was 10 years old when she married Isaac was 40 years old.
He had sex with all of them at various different times. Some of them didn't even know what was going on or what they were doing or what he was doing. It just goes to show you just how sick and twisted somebody can take a religion. And in this case, the religion was a twisted version of a Pentecostal religion, his own version, which believed in miracles, UFOs, polygamy, rallying against the Catholic Church, and going against a one-world government. He really bought into all these conspiracies and had loads and loads of various kinds of literature to try to debunk and go after the Catholic Church. At one point, Tony was arrested for tax evasion. It was to the tune of about 7.2 mil. He did, I want to say, 4 years, I believe, in prison for that. But then he went back to his evil ways. Finally, in 2009, he was arrested for taking girls across state lines. One of them was 9 years old. And he got a maximum of a 175-year prison term. He did die in prison. Now, the reason I've been sort of obsessed with this case is because I literally live down the street from the Tony Alamo Church. I think it was the FBI that eventually got involved, and I remember a day where I saw several white vans that had been pulled over, and there were dozens of black and white units from the LAPD and the Highway Patrol, and I'm quite convinced that it was at that time where Tony Alamo was arrested. It blows my mind that more people don't understand how these cults get started and how people believe in this crap. But anyway, we're going to go and we're going to take a little closer look at this case. I'm going to go to the church, see if I can gain access to any part of the compound. I have to be really sneaky. I'm going to take this camera, which is an Olympus OMD EM1 Mark III. For a very long time, I've wanted to go into that church, but let's see what we can come up with. All right, this is one of the utility houses at the church, I believe. And as you can see, it's all boarded up. I'm just going to take a walk back here. Looks like people have tried to get inside. Wallpaper. I don't know if you can gain access that way or not. There's another part of the compound. Definitely rats. See in the window. This is where there was a broken window before, and I was able to poke my camera in. Oddly enough, it has been replaced. Somebody's gone in through this window here, to this crawl space, which I would not do. There used to be a van that sat right over there, and it was an armed guard inside it, 24/7. I'm gonna go back through this way. Wow, so that was crazy. By the way, I'm going past the Mary Tree right now. Anyway, I felt like a kid breaking into a construction site when I was little. We'd steal wood and go make a fort. How many of you did that? Or do that? You know, I feel like I could have gotten inside the church, which is, I've always wanted to go inside where they actually held their meetings and so forth. But that would have been actual criminal trespass to go through one of those windows. Hey, I had to take a leak. Just trying to find somewhere to take a leak. But those little condominiums or dormitories or glorified sheds, really, is what they were. That was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. That's where these people lived. And I think there were more places, too, back in there. I think there were actual little houses that went up the hill, too. Maybe I can get access to that the next time. If anybody saw me, I was going to say, look, I wanted to check this out. It would be an interesting recording studio. And you know what? It actually would be. That church probably sounds good. And then you have the dormitories where people could stay while you're recording a record. But it's unfortunately marked by some really horrible past. So this could be an ongoing thing where I do a part 2 or something like that. I don't know. But hey, look, guys, help me out and subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up and set your notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos. I do have a second channel now called Rikki Rockett's Motorcycles. I had a lot of the motorcycle stuff on this channel, but it was confusing people, so I just decided to start a second channel and focus this channel more on just strictly urban legends and stuff like that. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Take care of each other and keep rock alive.